Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the quantum core of the HS Heisenberg, watching patterns dance across her holographic display that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics. The massive research vessel represented humanity's greatest achievement, a ship that didn't just use quantum mechanics, but embraced quantum uncertainty as its fundamental operating principle. Core fluctuations holding steady at 99.7% chaos threshold. She reported to Captain Marcus Rodriguez, who stood at the bridge with an expression of contained excitement. The uncertainty field is maintaining perfect instability. The concept would have seemed ridiculous just 20 years ago. Traditional quantum physics tried to measure and predict quantum states. The Heisenberg did the opposite. It cultivated and harnessed quantum uncertainty itself. The more unpredictable the quantum state, the more power they could draw from it. Status of the translation test. Rodriguez asked, dark eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of probability that surrounded their ship like a cloud of maybes and might-have beens. Ready to attempt our first long-range quantum translation, Sarah replied. The word translation was a polite euphemism for what they were really doing, exploiting quantum uncertainty to move the ship between points in space without technically traversing the distance between them. They weren't teleporting. They were simply making the ship's location uncertain enough that it could resolve itself somewhere else. The bridge crew held their breath as Sarah initiated the sequence. The quantum core's chaos increased, probability clouds thickening until the ship's exact position became so uncertain that they were suddenly 2 light years from their starting point. Translation successful, Sarah announced, unable to keep the pride from her voice. All systems nominal. Uncertainty field holding steady. Before Rodriguez could respond, proximity alerts blared across every console. Multiple contacts. Called out Lieutenant James Wong from Tactical. Large vessels just appeared around us. Design unknown. Definitely not human. The main view screen shifted to show sleek, crystalline ships arranged in a perfect geometric pattern around the Heisenberg. Their design spoke of mathematical precision, every angle and curve calculated to perfection. A transmission cut through their communications. Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted space of the Axiom Collective. Your method of arrival violates established laws of quantum mechanics. Explain yourselves. Rodriguez straightened his uniform. This is Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the human science ship Heisenberg. We apologize for any intrusion. We are on a peaceful research mission, testing new propulsion technology. There was a pause before the reply came. Impossible. Your claimed method of arrival requires quantum states too uncertain to sustain spacecraft operation. Submit to immediate inspection and quarantine. Sarah studied the readings from the alien vessels. Their technology was incredibly advanced, but something about it seemed rigid. Their quantum fields were perfectly controlled, each particle locked into precisely calculated states. Captain, she said quietly, I don't think they understand how we operate. Their entire approach to quantum mechanics is based on controlling and eliminating uncertainty. They're trying to measure us with tools that assume quantum states must be predictable. Rodriguez nodded slowly, which means they literally can't comprehend how we're achieving what we're doing. Your silence indicates subterfuge, the Axiom voice declared. Your vessel's quantum signature exceeds acceptable uncertainty parameters by factors of millions. This suggests dangerous experimentation with forces beyond your species' comprehension. You will power down and prepare for boarding. Sir, Wong reported, they're moving to surround us in some kind of containment formation. Energy readings suggest they're preparing to establish a quantum stabilization field. Sarah's eyes widened as she understood their intent. Captain, they're going to try to force our quantum core into a stable state. If they succeed, it could trigger a catastrophic collapse of our uncertainty field. Because they think they're helping us, Rodriguez said grimly. They believe unstable quantum states are inherently dangerous, so they're going to save us by stabilizing them. He turned to Sarah. Can they succeed? She shook her head. They fundamentally don't understand what we're doing. Their attempts to impose quantum stability would be like trying to freeze a river to make it flow better. It's not just wrong, it's completely backwards to how our systems work. Rodriguez squared his shoulders. Then it seems humanity's first contact will hinge on a philosophical disagreement about quantum mechanics. Open a channel. He waited for confirmation before speaking. Axiom vessels, we appreciate your concern, but we must decline. Our quantum states are intentionally uncertain. It's not a flaw, it's how we operate. Nonsense, came the immediate reply. Quantum uncertainty must be minimized for safe operation. Your primitive understanding of quantum mechanics has led you to dangerous mistakes. We will correct this error. The alien ships began generating overlapping fields of quantum stability, their perfect geometric pattern, creating a web of mathematical certainty that began closing in around the Heisenberg. They're treating us like children playing with explosives, Sarah said, fingers flying across her console as she adjusted their uncertainty field to compensate. They're so convinced they're right that they can't imagine their understanding might be incomplete. Rodriguez watched the approaching fields with calm determination. Then perhaps it's time to show them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. He smiled slightly. It's our ability to think in ways they never imagined possible. Dr. Chen, prepare to demonstrate exactly why uncertainty can be an advantage. The Heisenberg hung in space, surrounded by the approaching alien ships, as two fundamentally different approaches to quantum mechanics prepared to clash. Humanity's embrace of uncertainty was about to meet the Axiom's devotion to precision, and the outcome would reshape both species' understanding of reality itself. The crystalline ships of the Axiom Collective tightened their formation around the Heisenberg, their quantum stabilization field growing stronger with each passing moment. On the bridge, Sarah Chen watched her readings with growing fascination. "Captain, you need to see this," she called out. "Their stabilization field. It's beautiful in its way, but it's also incredibly rigid. Every quantum particle is locked into precise mathematical patterns. There's no flexibility, no room for uncertainty at all." Rodriguez moved to her station, studying the complex readings, like they're trying to impose their will on reality itself. "Exactly. And look at this." She highlighted a section of data. Their ships are arranged in perfect mathematical ratios, every position calculated to multiple decimal places. They're not just using math, they worship it. Lieutenant Wang's tactical console flashed urgent warnings. "Sir, their field is starting to affect our outer uncertainty shell. They're trying to force our quantum states into alignment with their patterns." Instead of worry, Sarah felt a surge of excitement. But that's not how uncertainty works. You can't just force quantum particles to behave properly by surrounding them with orderly ones. Sometimes the uncertainty spreads to the ordered particles instead. As if to prove her point, fluctuations appeared in the Axiom's stabilization field. Their perfect mathematical pattern began showing tiny imperfections as the Heisenberg's quantum uncertainty refused to be contained. The Axiom's response was immediate. "Your vessel is corrupting the quantum harmony of local spacetime. This confirms our assessment of dangerous primitive experimentation, initiating emergency containment protocols." More alien ships appeared, joining the formation. Their combined fields created complex geometric patterns of overlapping quantum stability. It was like being surrounded by a crystalline cage of pure mathematics. "They still think they're saving us from our own ignorance," Rodriguez observed. "Dr. Chen, what happens if they succeed in stabilizing our quantum core?" Sarah ran quick calculations, her expression growing serious. "Best case, our systems shut down. Worst case, the sudden collapse of our uncertainty field could create a cascade of quantum decoherence. It would be messy." "Sir," Wang interrupted, "they're deploying some kind of quantum resonance probes. I think they're trying to map our ship's quantum structure." Sarah checked her readings and actually laughed. "They can't. Their sensors are designed to measure exact quantum states. We're using uncertainty itself as our operating principle. It's like trying to measure the exact position of a cloud of smoke." The action's frustration was evident in their next transmission. Your vessel's quantum signature violates 17 fundamental laws of quantum mechanics. This should result in immediate atomic dissolution. Explain how you maintain structural cohesion. Rodriguez smiled slightly. Because we don't fight quantum uncertainty. We embrace it. Your laws assume quantum effects must be controlled. We've learned to work with them instead. Impossible. Quantum mechanics follows precise mathematical rules. Uncertainty must be minimized for stable operation. Your primitive understanding has led you to dangerous delusions. Sarah's console suddenly lit up with new alerts. Captain, they're scanning us with increasingly powerful sensors. They're so convinced we must be wrong that they're not even considering. She paused, eyes widening. Oh, that's fascinating. What is it, Doctor? Their sensors are perfectly calibrated to detect and measure quantum states, but because they're so precise, they're actually increasing our quantum uncertainty through the observer effect. The harder they try to measure us, the more uncertain our position becomes. Wang confirmed her assessment. Sir, our uncertainty field is actually growing stronger. Their attempts to measure us are making us harder to measure. Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully. They've become so focused on quantum precision that they've forgotten one of the fundamental principles of quantum mechanics. The act of measurement affects the thing being measured. The axiom ships adjusted their formation again, their pattern becoming even more complex. Your vessel's behavior defies all established quantum theory. You will submit to containment for the safety of all spacefaring species. Sir, Wang reported, they're charging weapons. Looks like some kind of quantum phase disruptors, designed to force quantum particles into specific states. Sarah's fingers flew across her console as she made rapid adjustments to their uncertainty field. Captain, I have an idea. They keep trying to impose mathematical perfection on quantum states. What if we show them why that's not always the best approach? Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? Their entire strategy depends on precise measurements and calculations, but quantum uncertainty is contagious. If we increase our quantum fluctuations enough, we might be able to introduce uncertainty into their perfect patterns. Not to attack them, but to show them there's more to quantum mechanics than mathematical precision. The captain considered this for a moment, watching the growing fleet of crystalline ships surrounding them. Each vessel was positioned with perfect mathematical precision, their combined quantum fields creating an intricate web of stabilization effects. They were beautiful in their way, but their rigid adherence to precision had become a weakness. Do it, he ordered. Let's show the Axiom Collective why humanity's greatest breakthrough in quantum mechanics wasn't finding a way to control uncertainty. It was learning to thrive within it. Sarah began modifying their quantum core settings, preparing to demonstrate to an advanced alien civilization why sometimes the most powerful approach to physics isn't fighting chaos, but embracing it. The Heisenberg's uncertainty field began to pulse with new patterns, preparing to challenge everything the Axiom thought they knew about quantum mechanics. Around them, the alien ships maintained their perfect formation, unaware that their greatest strength was about to become their greatest vulnerability. The true test of humanity's unique approach to quantum physics was about to begin. Heisenberg's quantum core pulsed with cascading waves of uncertainty as Sarah Chen made her final adjustments. Around them, the Axiom fleet's perfect geometric pattern gleamed like a cage of crystalline mathematics, their stabilization field growing stronger by the second. Quantum uncertainty field at maximum sustainable chaos, Sarah reported, her voice steady despite the tension. Ready to initiate uncertainty cascade on your command. Before Rodriguez could respond, the Axiom transmitted again, their artificial voice carrying traces of what might have been concern. Final warning. Your vessel's quantum signature has destabilized beyond all theoretical limits. Survival at such uncertainty levels should be impossible. That's what makes us dangerous to them, Wang observed from tactical. We're not just violating their understanding of physics, we're proving it incomplete. Rodriguez nodded. And nothing is more threatening to absolute certainty than proof of its own limitations. He straightened in his command chair. Dr. Chen, begin the demonstration. Sarah engaged the modified uncertainty field. A Heisenberg's quantum signature began to fluctuate wildly, its probability cloud expanding to intersect with the axiom's stabilization field. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then Wang's console erupted with alerts. Sir, their containment pattern. It's developing irregularities. The uncertainty is spreading through their stabilization field like a quantum contagion. On the main screen, they watched as tiny imperfections appeared in the axiom's perfect formation. Ships shifted slightly out of position as their quantum-locked systems encountered states they weren't designed to handle. Impossible. The axiom's transmission crackled with distortion. You are introducing quantum chaos into stable systems. This violates fundamental conservation laws. Sarah checked her readings, fascination overtaking concern. No, it doesn't. Their systems are so perfectly calibrated that they've become hypersensitive to quantum effects. The slightest uncertainty cascades through their entire network because they have no adaptability, no flexibility to handle deviation. The axiom ships began firing their quantum phase disruptors, attempting to force stability back into local spacetime. But their weapons relied on precise quantum calculations that became increasingly unreliable as uncertainty spread through their formation. Their weapons can't get a lock on us, Wang reported, unable to hide his amazement. The more they try to pinpoint our location, the more uncertain it becomes. They're literally making us harder to hit by trying to hit us. Rodriguez watched as the perfect crystalline formation began to break down. They built their entire civilization on the assumption that quantum mechanics could be controlled through pure mathematics. They never considered that uncertainty might have advantages of its own. Captain, Sarah called out, I'm detecting power fluctuations in their fleet. Their quantum engines are designed to operate in precisely defined states. Our uncertainty field is forcing them to adapt to quantum chaos, and they don't know how. The axiom's next transmission came in fragments, their usually perfect signal degrading. This defies mathematical principles. Quantum stability cannot maintain cohesion. Several of the alien ships began to withdraw, their perfect formation crumbling as uncertainty spread through their interconnected quantum systems. Others fired desperately, their weapons passing harmlessly through probability spaces where the Heisenberg might have been but wasn't. They're retreating, Wang confirmed. Their entire battle strategy depended on perfect quantum coordination. Once uncertainty entered their network, they couldn't maintain tactical cohesion. Sarah studied the readings from the retreating ships with growing concern. Captain, their quantum drives are becoming dangerously unstable. They never designed their systems to handle uncertainty at this scale. Rodriguez leaned forward. Can you help them? Maybe. Sarah's fingers flew across her console. If I can extend our uncertainty management protocols to their ships. There. I'm broadcasting quantum stabilization patterns that work with uncertainty instead of fighting it. The effect was immediate. The axiom ship's power fluctuations began to stabilize, though not in the rigid patterns they were designed for. Instead, they achieved a new kind of equilibrium, one that embraced controlled chaos rather than mathematical perfection. Fascinating. The axiom transmitted, their signal clearing. Your quantum manipulation techniques, they operate counter to all established principles, yet achieve superior results in chaotic conditions. Because we learned to swim with the quantum current instead of trying to freeze the river, Sarah explained. Uncertainty isn't our enemy, it's our ally. Rodriguez stood, addressing the alien fleet directly. Your understanding of quantum mechanics isn't wrong, but it is incomplete. You sought to master quantum physics through perfect mathematics. We learned to thrive within its inherent uncertainty. There was a long pause before the axiom responded. Your species has achieved something we believed impossible. Perhaps our understanding requires revision. As the crystalline ships regained their stability, now humming with a new kind of quantum harmony that balanced precision with uncertainty. Rodriguez smiled. Dr. Chen, send them our complete quantum uncertainty protocols. Let's show them why sometimes the best way to solve a problem isn't to control it, but to embrace its chaos. Sarah finished, transmitting the data that would challenge everything the Axiom thought they knew about quantum physics. The battle was over, but the real revolution was just beginning, one that would reshape both species' understanding of reality itself. In the following days, the HSS Heisenberg became an unlikely classroom. Sarah Chen stood before a delegation of Axiom quantum theorists, their crystalline forms refracting light as they studied the holographic models of human quantum mechanics floating between them. Your approach is, the lead theorist, who called itself First Calculator, paused as if struggling with the concept, intentionally imperfect. Sarah nodded, manipulating the display to show the Heisenberg's quantum core in operation. We discovered that trying to achieve perfect quantum states was actually limiting us. By embracing uncertainty, we opened up possibilities your mathematics said were impossible. Yet your vessels do not dissolve into quantum chaos, another Axiom scientist observed. You maintain coherence despite operating far beyond theoretical stability thresholds. Lieutenant Wang, who had joined the discussion out of curiosity, spoke up from his position near the door. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. Try to maintain perfect balance through pure mathematics, and you'll fall. Allow for constant small corrections, embrace the dynamic instability, and you can do the impossible. The Axiom delegates conferred in their own language, a series of crystalline harmonics that the translators rendered as complex mathematical equations. First Calculator turned back to Sarah. We have analyzed your quantum uncertainty protocols. They are elegant in their imperfection, but they violate fundamental mathematical principles. No, Sarah corrected gently. They violate your assumptions about mathematical principles. The universe doesn't care about our rules. It operates the way it operates. When our theories conflict with reality, it's the theories that need to change. On the bridge, Captain Rodriguez hosted his own meeting with the Axiom fleet commander, whose name translated roughly to perfect symmetry. The alien leader's crystalline form pulsed with colors that the translators suggested indicated deep thought. Your species achieved quantum engineering that our civilization deemed impossible. Perfect symmetry stated. We saw your methods as primitive, dangerous. We were wrong. Rodriguez smiled diplomatically. And we could learn much from your understanding of quantum mathematics. Perhaps both our species focus too narrowly on our own approaches. Your quantum uncertainty drive, perfect symmetry continued. It achieves faster than light travel not through brute force, but by exploiting the very uncertainty we sought to eliminate. It is beautiful in its chaos. Back in the quantum lab, Sarah was demonstrating the principles behind their uncertainty drive. Instead of fighting quantum probability, we use it. When we initiate a translation, we deliberately increase uncertainty until our position becomes so indeterminate that we can resolve into a new location. First Calculator's crystalline form flickered with what the humans had learned was excitement. You embrace quantum superposition at a macroscopic scale. Our scientists believed this would lead to instant destruction. Because you tried to maintain precise control, Sarah explained. Imagine trying to control every individual drop in a wave. Impossible, right? But you can surf the wave by working with its natural patterns. The demonstration was interrupted by an urgent call from Wang's tactical station. Dr. Chen, we're detecting massive quantum fluctuations from the Axiom fleet, but something's different about them. Sarah rushed to check the readings, then smiled. They're experimenting. Look at these patterns. They're trying to incorporate uncertainty into their own quantum systems. First Calculator moved to observe the data. Yes, your methods have shown us that our perfect mathematical models were unnecessarily restrictive. We are attempting to find balance between precision and uncertainty. In the command center, perfect symmetries form, pulsed with new patterns. We have begun modifying our quantum drives based on your principles. Already, We are achieving efficiency improvements of 300%. By accepting some uncertainty, we gain greater capability. Rodriguez nodded. And we could benefit from your mathematical precision. Perhaps the true path forward lies in combining both approaches. A synthesis. Perfect symmetry, agreed. Your chaos tempered by our order. Our precision enhanced by your uncertainty. Sarah watched as the Axiom ship's quantum signatures shifted, becoming more dynamic while retaining their underlying mathematical beauty. They're quick learners, she commented to Wang. Once they got past their assumptions about what was impossible, they started innovating in ways we never imagined. Rigid adherence to rules, Wang replied, even correct ones, can become a cage. Sometimes you have to break the rules to discover better ones. First Calculator's next words surprised them all. We have transmitted data about your quantum uncertainty principles to the Axiom Collective. Our civilization will need to reevaluate many fundamental assumptions. This is uncertain. Its crystalline form flickered. We find we are beginning to appreciate uncertainty. Sarah grinned. Welcome to the quantum revolution. Sometimes the best way forward isn't the path of perfect certainty, but the path of balanced chaos. First Calculator completed, attempting the human expression of humor. Perhaps your species' greatest achievement was not mastering quantum mechanics, but learning to dance with its uncertainties. The Heisenberg hung in space beside the crystalline ships of the Axiom fleet, their quantum signatures interweaving in patterns that broke all the rules while creating something entirely new. A testament to what became possible when two civilizations learned to see beyond their own limitations. 6 months after humanity's first contact with the Axiom Collective, the HFY Heisenberg led a joint quantum physics expedition into deep space. The ship's quantum signature now displayed a fascinating hybrid pattern. Human uncertainty harmoniously interwoven with Axiom mathematical precision. Sarah Chen studied the readings from their latest experiment, her human intuition working alongside an Axiom quantum processing matrix. Beside her, First Calculator's crystalline form shimmered with excitement as they pushed the boundaries of what both species had once thought possible. Quantum coherence at 500% previous theoretical limits, Sarah announced. The hybrid drive is performing beyond all projections. Indeed, First Calculator harmonized. By combining our mathematical frameworks with your uncertainty principles, we achieve results that neither of our species could reach alone. Captain Rodriguez watched from his command chair as the joint fleet of human and Axiom vessels moved through space in a formation that was both precisely calculated and wonderfully unpredictable. Status of the quantum network. Strong and stable, Wang reported from Tactical. The Axiom ships have fully adapted to our uncertainty protocols, and we're successfully incorporating their precision matrices. It's like we're teaching each other to dance. The quantum revolution sparked by their first meeting had spread rapidly through both civilizations. Humanity learned to temper their chaos with mathematical precision, while the Axiom discovered the power of controlled uncertainty. Together, they pushed the boundaries of quantum physics in ways neither had imagined possible. We were both right, and both wrong, Sarah mused, watching the interplay of human and Axiom quantum fields. You needed our chaos to break free of mathematical limitations, and you required our precision to harness chaos more effectively. First Calculator completed. The universe, we have learned, demands both. Perfect Symmetry's image appeared on the main screen, the Axiom commander's crystalline form now displaying the subtle irregularities they had learned to embrace. The collective has completed its review of quantum mechanics. We are grateful for the uncertainty you brought to our understanding. Rodriguez smiled. And we're grateful for the mathematical rigor you've brought to ours. Our scientists estimate we've advanced quantum technology by centuries through this collaboration. More than technology has advanced. Perfect symmetry observed. Our civilization long believed that progress came through perfect order. You showed us that true advancement often requires embracing chaos. Sarah pulled up the latest data from their quantum experiments. Look at this, she called out. The hybrid drives aren't just more efficient. They're opening up entirely new possibilities. We're detecting quantum states that neither of our species had theorized could exist. Because we stopped trying to force reality to match our theories, First Calculator said, attempting a human nod that made its crystalline form sparkle. Instead, we learned to adjust our theories to match reality. The bridge crew watched as another test of the hybrid quantum drive sent ripples of beautiful chaos through perfectly ordered spacetime. The effect was like watching mathematics dance, precise equations swirling in unpredictable but harmonious patterns. We named our ship Heisenberg after the scientist who first described quantum uncertainty, Rodriguez reflected. He taught us that there are fundamental limits to what we can know and control. The Axiom spent millennia fighting that truth, while humans embraced it. Perfect symmetry completed. And in doing so, you achieved what we thought impossible. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson our species could learn from yours, that wisdom sometimes lies not in imposing our will upon the universe, but in learning to flow with its natural patterns, Sarah finished, even when those patterns don't match our expectations. First Calculator's form pulsed with what had become recognizable as joy. We have submitted a proposal to the collective. We wish to establish a permanent joint research initiative. There is much uncertainty about what we might discover together. That's what makes it exciting. Wong grinned, not knowing exactly where we're going, but knowing it'll be somewhere amazing. As the combined fleet prepared for another test of their hybrid quantum drives, Sarah reflected on how far both species had come. The Axiom had learned to embrace uncertainty without losing their mathematical brilliance, while humanity had gained precision without sacrificing their innovative chaos. Ready to make the impossible possible again? Rodriguez asked, looking at his mixed crew of humans and Axiom scientists. Always, Sarah replied, initiating the quantum drive sequence. Around them, space-time itself seemed to dance with possibilities as order and chaos merged into something greater than either alone could achieve. The universe, they had all learned, was neither purely mathematical nor purely chaotic. It was a beautiful dance between the two. A dance that became possible only when you stopped trying to lead and learned instead to move in harmony with the music of reality itself. As the Heisenberg translated into quantum space, its hybrid drive singing with the combined wisdom of two civilizations, it carried with it a truth both species had finally learned. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from fighting the fundamental nature of the universe, but from embracing it in all its precise, chaotic, beautiful uncertainty.